beyond 100 times over. I'm Colin Moriarty, editor of IGN PlayStation. I'm here with David Reed of CCP, and we're here to talk a bit about Dust 514. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Colin.
So let's just get right into it, because we have this video playing here. What are we looking at? What's Dust 514? Tell me what's going on here.
Sure, let's just start with where you are now. You're in your Mercenary Quarters here at the beginning. And this is a place where, in between matches, you're going to be able to customize and tailor your drop suits, your fittings, how you want to go out into the battle. In Dust 514, unlike other shooters, we have this massive amount of persistence and customization available to you. So what you're going to be doing is picking things that you want to specialize in. Right now you're looking at your skill tree. There are dozens of skills. This could take you a lifetime to master all of them. And much like in real life, we don't expect you to. We expect you to pick something, to specialize in it, and to contribute faster to your group. Now, what you're looking at right here is a drop suit fitting. And this is, in fact, another part of the customization piece here. Over here on the left, you're looking at all these items that you've got access to and how to plug different modules into your drop suit, the suit of armor that you're wearing into combat. Drop suits and their configurations, they have different amounts of power, different amounts of CPU required, and you need to fit those things in particular. So when something comes up and says it's an invalid fitting, you're trying to juice it too hard beyond either what the capabilities of the equipment are or what your own skills will allow you to do. Part of what happens in Dust is if you pick up a suit of armor or try to drive a vehicle that you're not really trained well to do, it's going to end badly for you. So just like in real life, don't drive a tank if you haven't been trained on that tank yet. So we do have some of that in Dust as well. And part of what we're seeing in the beta right now is we're watching people go through these processes, and we are hearing feedback about how to make this a little clearer for people and to tighten that up. And so that is very much our focus in the coming weeks here, is working deeply in the UX and the UI for the gamer so they can quickly make some decisions here. But what you'll see here is you actually are literally right now, in this case, customizing your own tank. And when you're out there on the battlefields in Dust 514 and you call in for a tank, you are calling your tank. This is a tank that you've put the time into building. It's a tank that you've put different customizations together for the way you want to fight on the battlefield. If that tank blows up, you're losing one of your tanks. This isn't some Candyland where tanks just spawn magically just because you happen to be on the battlefield. These things all are items that you've put into.
Okay, fair enough. So now we're out of the customization option. Is this, I've been playing the beta in this, obviously you're in this area, in this third-person mode almost, but when you get thrust into battle, and now we are thrust into battle on a planet surface. So what are we seeing here? I mean, it looks kind of like a typical shooter, but it's certainly not.
Exactly.
Explain the finer points.
Yeah, I mean, what you're seeing here is moment-to-moment gameplay that is very familiar to you if you are a first-person shooter player of a Call of Duty or a Battlefield, something with that, large, massive multiplayer thing that happens after your single-player campaign. We jokingly refer to that at CCP as the interactive video practice mode of most of these first-person shooters, because at the end of the day, most people play through the campaign in a way to learn how to play in multiplayer, and that's where they spend the bulk of their time. Now, unlike other first-person shooters, and I think what you see here when you look at this is, with the emphasis on vehicle combat and things like that, Dust probably feels on the margin a little more like a Battlefield than it does a Call of Duty. But again, at the end of the day, if you're familiar with using your gamepad on your PlayStation 3 first shooter, you're going to feel right at home here. And what you have now in Dust 514 is a couple of really meaningful differences from the typical first-person shooter gameplay. You've got a wide variety of weapons, armor, and drop suits that allow you to customize and tweak as you want. But what you don't get to see here necessarily right away is the persistence that you've taken out of your skills, your equipment that you purchased with in-game currency, with our RM virtual currency, the skills that you've leveled up both while you play in battle, you get skill points, and passively, even when you're offline, much like in EVE Online, you continue to get skill points. You're using that to customize the way you want to go into this battle, and so you've gone onto this particular battle with this particular victory condition on this kind of a planet with a particular drop suit configuration and weapons and vehicles in mind to be most successful in that battle. And so what you're looking at now is I'm flying in the gun seat of a dropship. So there are going to be people in the game who, for example, are going to specialize in being dropship pilots, dropship gunners. This is a guy with a swarm launcher, and he is looking for something to shoot at from a distance. That's not something that you're going to want to use when you're going up in infantry combat with assault rifles, right? The swarm launcher is not going to do you much good there. But when you're shooting at vehicles or far off targets, it's going to be a great thing for you.
Okay, awesome. And so as we let the footage kind of ride a little bit, tell me a bit about when we can expect Dust 514 to come to PlayStation 3, how long the beta is going to go, and kind of what your expectations are when people can play it for themselves.
Absolutely. So the beta actually kicked off in a very limited fashion in December, and it's been running at that point for a while. So the game is running and working right now. We opened up the beta quite a bit at FanFest, allowing in EVE Online players, but now we're very excited as we announced D3, the beta is running up at full tilt. So our first big beta event was at the end of June, and what we incorporated with that, number one, were some people who'd registered in for the beta, but a way to make sure you got into every beta event was to buy what we call the Mercenary Pack. It was a $19.99 SKU in which you got $20 of our RM virtual currency for use to buy other items in the game. It also gave you a bunch of exclusive digital objects that you'll get in the game that are, some are perishable, some are permanent. And from there, you also get a certain amount of, you get access to all beta events. Now, what we've got coming up here this weekend, however, with IGN as an exclusive, is an IGN-only beta event.